Here we are again after the holidays, after a Titans loss, here to talk about the rest of the season and here to figure out just what the heck we're going to do. It's all about to start on Fanboys Unleashed. Here we flip and go. Good evening, everybody, on a very belated Fanboys Unleashed, but holiday times go absolutely crazy at my house. They go crazy with Brad and his traveling schedule, so it's been a little hard to find some time to talk about this stupid game, this stupid team. It's stupid. I hate it. I hate it here. I hate it. I'm going to talk about it, but we're actually going to focus very little on the game today and more about what the heck we should do. If you go to A to Z Sports, if you go to 104.5 The Zone in Nashville, if you go to a lot of these places, they're all talking about what the right call is, who should be, and you can find merits in both arguments about why things should change and why things should kind of stay the course, depending on the subject. But to go ahead and get this out of the way, gee whiz. Run defense, run defense, run defense, run defense, run defense, run defense. I don't even know how else to say it. I don't even know how else to say it. People were stopping passes. They couldn't stop the run to save their lives. Run defense was absolutely atrocious. And you know what? Soft teams do that. Just saying. Just saying. Soft teams do that. I got to get it out of the way. I'm sure this is on your list, but run defense. Run defense has to be. I really several things on the offense, but they seem to get it together late, and I'll take that. A team that puts up 30 points, found a rhythm there with Mason Rudolph when he wasn't getting thrown to the ground and beat up, or a pass going off Tony Pollard's hands or whatever. I really don't blame him for that second interception. It was there. No. Tony's just got to catch it. Just got to catch it.
And the third one didn't matter either. That was just
he's trying to make it. I really wish they would describe interceptions like, hey, when did this happen in the game? What was the parameters? So it was what it was. But run defense has to be numero uno. Brad, do you have another one other than run defense?
No. It's just run defense. I mean,
it took over everything. It kind of took the entire negative shot. I don't know
how I got a negative. It's whatever percentage you want to put it on. Titans fans, not all of you, just stop it with the Brian Callahan saw. Listen, Brian Callahan doesn't focus the defense. That's Denard Wilson. You want to start blaming coaching, then you got to start blaming Denard Wilson. We know that they're not going to run the ball up the middle on us because Simmons is Sweat. So what are you going to do? Right. We're going to attack the edge where we don't have a run stopper in Harold Landry and Alden Key. And that's exactly what they did. But when they did run up the middle, Quentin Nelson had a great game. He was giving it to Jeffrey Simmons again, unfortunately. And then at the times where Jeffrey Simmons was lined up on the outside, they ran it away from him. So Colts did their homework. They just ran the ball over us. Offense. I mean, another negative I would say is just the so Mason Rudolph comes in, does a beautiful touchdown pass to Calvin Ridley, and then just takes us a while to score after that. That's my only other negative is just the inconsistent scoring. But at least, like you said, we did put up 30 points. I'll let the Titans fans debate whether Colts took their foot off the gas pedal, whatever, blah, blah, blah. That's for you guys to debate. Anyway,
they did not want to get that close. I call BS on that. The Colts.
But here's what I want to say to the Titans fans saying, "Oh, it's still Brian Callahan." All right. So Will Mason Rudolph did throw 3 picks. The second pick was not his fault. Tony Pollard, just like Will Levis's second interception, in his last start when it went off NWI's eyes. Hands, my fault. Interceptions. Correct. The third interception, Mason Rudolph threw 3 seconds to go, 89 yards. Not going to happen. This ain't Calvert, Stanford back in the good old glory days. You just do a hook and ladder and it's going to work. No. The positive is when Mason Rudolph throws picks, at least he has touchdown passes. Will Levis ain't throwing no touchdown passes. So
right. There's no good to go with it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
I give Mason full credit for it. I really do. I really do.
I was watching A to Z. Dude, I would take Caleb Williams over.
I think Caleb. What did he finally say? You know what? This game was my fault. I'm like, oh really? This game.
Well, that touchdown pass to Roma DJ was awesome, but offensive line holding penalty can't. He made some good throws, and then there's this time that he didn't even have 2 seconds to throw the ball. He didn't even have a second. Pressure's in his face, and he's breaking down the film. I'll still take Caleb Williams over Levis any day. So, because here, hey, Titans fans, guess what? Offensive line has been good the last few weeks. Shout out to Bill Callahan. Papa Callahan's got the thing going, even with NPF. So, watching A to Z talk about Will Levis, hearing the Levis lovers. Listen, don't be a Levis lover. Be a Titans lover. Either way, we knew this was going to be his season to determine whether or not what's going to happen. And he set the bar so he set the bar so low. You can't even trip over it. You can just look at that. I'm just gonna walk over it easily, not even trip. It even weighs a foot. You just slide over the bar. That's how low he set the bar. He's been sacked 40 times. Mason Rudolph's only been sacked 7 times. Will Levis can have all the physicality he wants. He doesn't have the mental. So I'm glad to see Mason in. Did the offense cost us this game? No, the defense cost us this game. This is on the defense. You can't allow 300 freaking yards on the ground. And just, it was a mess. Even Anthony Richardson ran the ball on us. He's a big boy. He's big, like 6'5", 240. But it was one of those gee whiz days, man. It was a good butt whooping. Until he got better. It got good once the offense started scoring. But hey.
Yeah. Oh, what? Did you talk about scoring? Tajay Spears. Welcome back,
and
Tajay.
Chig.
And Chig again. 2 killers of the thing. Bradley, talk about the offense real quick while I go compose my son to stop screaming in the background.
So, 30 points. Tajay Spears killed it. Tony Pollard struggled. Chig killed it. Another touchdown catch to NWI. Congratulations. But, so we scored 30 points. Like I said, Titans fans, you can debate whether the Colts took their foot off the gas pedal, whatnot, what have you. Either way, that's back-to-back weeks. Tajay Spears and Chig Okonkwo, they're getting him the ball. They're getting them involved, and it has worked out. So that's the good news. I like to see that going. Brian Callahan looks like he's getting into a motion where he's starting to figure out who's his playmakers and who he can trust. Because obviously – I could say this is a negative, but does Mason Rudolph, does Brian Callahan trust Will Levis? The answer is no. Listen, like I said, Mason Rudolph threw 3 picks. 2 of them really wasn't his fault, but at least he threw touchdown passes. That's what you want to see from your quarterback. Like I said, Tajay Spears last 2 weeks has been getting going. Chig's been getting going. NWI had another touchdown catch. Whoop-de-doo.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
But I think Brian Callahan is now starting to see, okay, I could trust Chig. I could trust Spears. He's starting to feel – Calvin Ridley had another solid game. And I know the Jaguars game's coming up, draft position. I know I saw one mock draft, which we'll talk about that later. But it was a positive note for Mason Rudolph. Yes, he did throw 3 picks. 2 were not – the last pick really didn't – anything. The second pick, Pollard should have caught that. That was textbook right to your chest, catch the ball, bounce off his hands, blah, 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 interception. Just, yeah.
Gotta catch
Pollard, you play receiver, bro, at Memphis. What happened? I mean, catch the ball. Just catch it. That's all you gotta do. Catch the ball.
All right.
But 3 points, good job.
Enough about this game. It makes me sad. So, so it was brought up on A to Z, and I think it's a pretty good point.
It is.
If you somehow get the first round draft pick, it's Sanders, right? At that point.
I don't think the Giants or Raiders are going to win any games, so I don't see that happening. So if I would rather go sign a veteran this offseason, not Kirk Cousins. Not Kirk Cousins. I would not go after Kirk Cousins.
Won't even entertain it.
If Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, depending on what the Steelers do, the playoffs and offseason, we'll see what they do. Keep an eye on that. Sam Darnold could, because the Vikings are going to sign him, but not long term because they got a first round draft pick and JJ McCarthy sitting there. So they're going to give Sam Darnold a 2-3 year extension just in case JJ gets injured again or JJ doesn't develop right. So we'll see how that goes too. Aaron Rodgers, Titans fans, I know, oh, what this old guy? Yeah, but it's like, I'll take Aaron Rodgers still over Will Levis. I mean, like I said, Will Levis set the bar so low. He's 33rd in the NFL in QBR. That's probably 34 now because Mason Rudolph, and God knows whoever else above him. And that's what I was telling A to Z, like, trying to tell these Levis lovers out there, he's not irreplaceable. You can replace Will Levis.
You can.
Yeah. I mean, now, is it Brian Callahan's fault? There's no evidence that it's his fault. We have evidence of him missing throws, missing wide open receivers, not making the right reads. And then Mason comes in, hey, he scores 30 points. There's just so much evidence that's leaning towards Will Levis is more the issue than Brian Callahan. Brian Callahan's a first-year head coach play caller, guys. He's not
He's going to make his mistakes.
Right. He's not a Matt LaFleur. He's not an offensive genius. He could be I think he's a quarterback guru.
Speaking of Shanahan, I hear there's some heat on him, which is a little shocking to me. But man,
49ers are just old, and I'm glad you brought that up because what John Robinson did for us, he tried to do the New England way, right? Come here. Oh, I could trade AJ Brown and go replace him with Traylon Burks. That was nope, that didn't happen. So here comes Rand. What do you do? Oh, I'm going to get a irrelevant 7th round quarterback in Brock Purdy. I'll give him CMC, injured. George Kittle, Keenan tight end University. He's a beast, but Deebo Samuel, hurt. Brandon Ayuk, hurt. San Francisco's just the age and the injuries are catching up with them. And now Brock Purdy's not playing he's not playing good because San Francisco had the weapons, he had the coach, but now everything's kind of falling apart.
I think
there in San Francisco. I think that's what Rand tried to do here. Is like, okay, I got Will Levis. Right. We moved up in the draft to get him, which was a red flag because he slid in the draft. And let's give him Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley, D-Hop. But then we trade him because we got to such a bad start. So I mean, I know it feels up to me. Brian Callahan should not be on the hot seat. Maybe Rand could be. I would be more.
I'd be more inclined to fire Rand. If you're going to fire somebody, I think Rand should be fired.
Right.
I think he sold us a bill of bad goods, and you spent so much.
Titans fans have to understand too is remember this guy Rand drafted him when who was the head coach? Vrabel. This is not Callahan's quarterback he wants. I could tell from the first 2 games of the season. He's like, I can't curse on this, but what the heck are you doing? You could tell he was fed up with Will Levis, especially that the game versus the Bengals. He had, and I love this press conference. I think Brian Callahan handled it well. I didn't like Easton Freeze's question. I didn't like Easton Freeze's question, honestly. I didn't think it was a great question, but
No.
I mean, I support everything with him getting fired up. I like that kind of head coach because he's like, if you guys, I mean, like Jeffrey Simmons ain't soft. Jarvis Brownlee's not soft. Pollard's not soft. J.C. Latham is not soft. I mean, some players might be, but not everybody. Linebacking core has been devastated with injuries.
They're on
Secondary.
linebacker 6 and 7. Think about that. Your safeties, you're on 4 and 5. With safety.
Yeah, Hooker's been having a good. I mean, Hooker had a bad game tackling against the Colts. He missed a lot of angles and everything. Got his 5th interception a year. That's good, but it's just not a good football team. It has nothing to do with softness. It's not a good football team. We have no talent. Calvin Ridley's not a legit wide receiver number 1. He's a better.
That's why we shouldn't fight. I don't think it's Callahan's fault.
Right.
I don't think he should pay the price.
I think
for that.
If you're like, I saw mock drafts. They said take the Arizona kid at pick number 5 or 4. I said no. The only receiver I think worthy in the top 10 is Hunter. I would not draft another receiver in the top 10 because I made a list about this. When we had Mike Vrabel, who did John Robinson draft? Dez Fitzpatrick.
Oh, gee whiz.
Who was available? Titans fans, guess what? He would have been a perfect Titan. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
St. Brown.
Mm-hmm. He is exactly what Mike Vrabel would love to coach. Is a physical receiver because he is. Even though he's only like 6 foot, 200 pounds, he's a physical receiver. He makes blocks. He's a great route runner, great hands, and he's a very physical receiver. That would have been perfect. But we took Dez Fitzpatrick instead of Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's what I'm saying. Like, any draft you can go and like, oh, we should have got to this guy, but it's the curse of John Robinson still. We're trying to rebuild. Right, even the preseason, I picked them at best going 9-8. I didn't have them having a winning record because the chemistry is not here yet.
Do you clean house if you're the first overall pick and Sanders is the quarterback? That was the big one. It's a hard one. It's a hard question.
So Sanders, I feel like could be good if he does, because like the one thing about him is he experienced bad offensive line play in Colorado. Deion's his dad. He's gonna, know what it's like to be a pro football player. Pretty solid.
I kind of feel like he's the only QB, really.
Yeah,
that's
Cam Ward. It's kind of like Ohio State. You don't see a lot of good quarterbacks coming out of Miami University doing good in the pros.
Right.
Same thing. Like the only Buckeye in a long time is C.J. Stroud. He's struggling this year too.
You know how messed up I am? I'm trading down and bolstering the team. That's literally, I'm like, hey, I'll stock up on linemen and cornerbacks and anything, wide receivers. I'll stock up on all that.
I would, if I was the owner, I would talk to Rand, sit down with Rob Brinker, sit down with Callahan, and say, okay, guys, what's the plan? I need to know what you guys are trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish here. If Brinker gives you a better flow or energy or answer, then I would say, hey, Rand, we're going to have to part ways, and I'll give Brinker control. Because if Abdul Carter is there from Penn State, I'm getting him. Because Harold Landry is not – I don't want to say he's done, but it's getting pretty close that his decline is rapid.
ACL never got back from ACL.
So if Carter's there, I'm getting him. If there's nothing else there, trade down for future picks because you can still get a good offensive lineman in the second round. You can still get a receiver second round or third round or later on. It just depends on what the Titans are trying to build. Like if you're trying to build a physical football team, then go get physical football players. Here's a great example. Detroit Lions, they start off very bad with Jack Campbell. Very bad. But they trust the process. They stuck with it. Now they're a tank. Tank is a all-around weather vehicle that can just steamroll opponents. Go the Miami Dolphins route. They're like their Lamborghini. They're flashy. They got speed, but you put that Lamborghini in the cold, it ain't going to do anything. It's going to stall out. They're going to crash. That's why the Dolphins don't do good underneath 45-degree temperature weather. I believe they're 0-9 since they drafted Tua, and the temperature is below 45 degrees. So, got to figure out what the identity of this team is going to be. And they got to figure out quick because that new stadium's getting built, and we need to put some fans in the stands.
Oh, there'll be fans there. Look, I fully believe they will have things rock and rolling in 2027. Partly because you don't have a choice. I mean, you really don't.
No.
Can you imagine the embarrassment? No, you have to be ready to go. Yeah. But you're never going to get consistency if you keep firing head coaches and you keep changing players. You've got to find it. And so I think you publicly come out and you say Callahan's my guy for 5 years. And you just say that's all there is to it. And people can like it or hate it, but at least you know who your head coach is for the next 5 years, and it's done.
Well, and I keep hearing this, like, oh, we should have kept Tannehill. We should have kept Mike Vrabel. Like, no, guys.
Tannehill's cooked.
Yeah,
and everybody that I am a big Vrabel believer. I still am. As of this moment in the year of our Lord 2024, December 27th, 2024, it is a mistake to fire Mike Vrabel. That doesn't mean I won't take that back next year if we're winning games. So
I think, well, I remember A to Z asking this question. I like to watch other podcasts and,
Me too.
Stephen A. Smith just to get, a glimpse and soak everything in. I think Mike Vrabel was the scapegoat for Amy, maybe. Do I think he deserved to be fired? Yes, but was it because it wasn't his fault that John Robinson destroyed the team.
Right.
I mean, the one thing about John Robinson, not my fault, Mike Vrabel, sorry, Titans fans. Mike Vrabel, the one thing I would say is when he came in, he took over a playoff caliber team. It just took him a while. Arthur Smith came in. We had a bench Mariota. Here comes Tannehill, a veteran quarterback with Henry and A.J. Brown, and boom. We got to the playoffs. We made a nice run, and then after that, we made 2 more playoffs, lost to the Ravens, another playoff performance, lost to the Bengals, and then Tannehill got injured. He was throwing picks, and then we're losing.
Awful.
Titans fans are still saying, "Oh, Rand Carter let Derrick Henry go." It's like, oh my God, he left.
It took less money to get to Baltimore. It took less money to go to Baltimore. Stop it. Stop it.
Exactly.
It's over.
Oh man, I know. It's like the whole Vrabel, Tannehill, Henry. Let's go, guys. It's over. I know. We're frustrated. Back. It's over. No,
so there's nothing else.
That's why, I know Rams ain't going to part with Matthew Stafford. I would take Matt. If I would pick any quarterback, if Matthew Stafford became a free agent, I would take him. He's tough. He's gritty. Smart quarterback. Still has a good arm. I would take him. Aaron Rodgers, I would still take, but you got to fix that right side of the line because Aaron Rodgers can't move. He can still throw the ball good. He just can't move. So I would say you had to go with a veteran quarterback. Unless the Steelers let Justin Fields go, then I'll take Justin Fields. But now I like A to Z's question when they said, will Will Levis be on the roster in 2025? That's going to be.
I don't think so. Not if Callahan's still coach, he won't be.
No. Maybe as a backup, but
no, I think it's over. I think he's done. I mean,
like I said, he's a good physical quarterback. His mental game is. If anybody remembers the Little Giants, the great Steve Antman. Remember, kid, football 80% mental, 40% physical. Kid walks by going, "What?"
Yeah, wait a minute.
It's a mental game. I remember I remember when Brady came out as a free agent, and I said, "Oh, Mike Vrabel, John Robinson, former Patriots, they're gonna go get him." Titans fans like, "Oh, he's too old." Yeah, you're right. He's too old. He just won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. After that, I mean,
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
just saying. There's light at the end of the tunnel. If I'm Amy, I would sit down with Brinker, Carthorne, Brian Callahan. Hey, preach to me why you guys want to keep your job. Explain to me what's going to turn this 3-14 as a now team into how we're going to turn this around. Let me hear it. Let Brinker talk. Let Rand talk. Let Brian talk. Pretty sure Papa Callahan, too, will be in that conversation because it's Bill.
Mm-hmm.
And then just hear him out. Because I know, I mean, like, listen, Rand, that was Will Levis. That was his choice to draft Will Levis. And that's all I'm going to say. That's how I'm going to leave it right there.
Two more games left, ladies and gentlemen. 2 more games left. We will be here to talk about it. And on to all things Titans coverage on Fanboys Unleashed. We're still working on our Facebook page and trying to get this uploaded onto the Facebook page. Is proving to be rather difficult for whatever reason. But we're working on it. And so just be patient, okay? Anyway. We will see y'all next Sunday, hopefully, at 8 p.m. Central for the last show in 2024. The last one. And hopefully we'll be talking about Calvin Ridley hitting the gritty in Jacksonville. Won't that be nice? So for Mr. First Down, Bradley Mangold, we will catch you next Sunday at 8 p.m. Central for Fanboys Unleashed. Have a good one, everybody, and Happy New Year.